You know, one thing that's important to point out is Florida, you know, I vetoed the map last time. It did have unconstitutional racial gerrymandering. We did a map, and, you know, people were howling about it because the reality is, we did it on constitutional grounds, but they didn't like the fact that that gerrymandered district would have likely been a Democrat, and then that was taken away. And so they were crying foul on that. Florida's map has compact districts. It's one of the most compact maps in the country. The legislature is not allowed to draw the Illinois tile snake districts, which are a joke. They're not allowed to do that. So the map that Florida has compact districts. It's done in a way that makes a lot of sense. And the reality is if you look at like California, you know, they're doing all this dog and pony show there now, saying, oh, Texas, we've got to combat Texas. California is one of the worst gerrymandered maps there is. You know, what they did, this is how they do. They're like, no, we're going to do an independent commission. So they do a commission. The problem is, it's like, if you truly were independent, it's like you would be immune to any type of partisan pressures. But that commission is comprised of liberal Democrats, liberal independents, and very liberal Republicans. I think one of the Republicans is from Berkeley, like not exactly a hotbed of Reagan conservatism. It's just, it is what it is. So they hotwired that independent commission to produce a map that was very much gerrymandered and was not something that was fair to Republicans, even at that time. Now they're saying they want to do even more by doing whatever they're talking about doing now. So don't buy this notion that if someone has a commission, that somehow means it is immune from this type of partisan pressures. The California one was a left-wing commission. That's just the reality. That's what they produced. That's what they were supposed to do based on who appointed those folks to that commission. And so I just think it's better to just have the legislature do it. And if you don't like it, you know, you can vote them out. You put some commission in, like California, and then stack it. If you don't like that as a voter, those people will never appear on your ballot. But that's exactly what they did there. And they've done it in other states as well. And then Illinois, if you look at Illinois, you know, so Illinois, like if Chicago wasn't in Illinois, it would be a red state. You know, there's some dots blue, but like most of it is red outside of Illinois. So if you drew compact districts, you know, you'd have probably 6 in the Chicago that would be like 90-10 Dem, right? But then all the other ones would probably be Republican districts, and they didn't want that. So what they do is they go into the city of Chicago, they find enough Dems, and they draw a map out to the burbs and the rural to do that, so they know a Dem can win. Then they go to the next part of the city. They draw it out with the rural and all that. So just look up their map on Google Maps and Google Image, and it'll come up, and you can see it. And it's a joke. And I just find it funny that Texas, whatever they, you know, I don't know what the status is. I know they were trying. These Democrats flee, and you know, and a lot of the media is like acting like Texas is like so out of bounds. I never heard anything about Illinois. Like it was almost like they didn't care about Illinois. You even have the governor of Illinois. He's sheltering these Texas Democrats who are fleeing. First of all, you should be there doing your job, not running and hiding. But they're fleeing to Illinois to protest gerrymandering. You're going to Illinois to protest gerrymandering? I mean, it's just ridiculous. So Florida, you know, what we did, you know, we were attacked at the time. You know, the reality is people can pull up, you know, that map and see, you know, how it was done. So this is going to be something, you know, we are going to have to address this in one form or another. We will do that. But I do think that there's going to be things that are going to happen throughout the balance of this year and the beginning of next year. Maybe get a tweak to the census, Supreme Court rule on racial gerrymandering. And then obviously we've got the basis that we're looking through based on the Florida Supreme Court's decision about if there are any vulnerabilities on our current map, and then just accounting for the reality that Florida has had a big population shift. And it hasn't been uniform throughout the state. You know, Broward, I don't think they've had net population gain. You have some other places. I mean, Palm Beach has had net gain. You've had other parts of the state definitely net gain. But there's some that boomed, some that were, you know, fine. No one did bad, but it isn't uniform the way it's happened. So the map should reflect that. We want to make sure everybody's vote counts. So so stay tuned on that. But this letter has gone out. James is going to be working with Commerce and working with the Trump administration on this, and hopefully we're able to get to a positive resolution for the state of Florida. Okay, we got